Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It's cold. Yeah. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Shrishtham Manamapi Shachiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasya Gajamurupuring Maturim Goshtavartim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhava Samprapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tamnatos Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Ataf Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tine Smarane Hoy Bigna Vinashan Anayashi Hoy Nijavan Chita Puran Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, everywhere is Rama Rama, is written for Ramanavami yesterday. I was in Vrindavan yesterday, and this morning I woke up in Vrindavan. And yeah, yesterday was Ramanavami, but there wasn't much talk about Ram, because it was the 50th anniversary of the opening of Krishna Balaram temple. So there's more talk about the Krishna Balaram temple and about Vrindavan, but it's actually most of the ones are speaking about Srila Prabhupada and their memories of him in Vrindavan elsewhere. 2 and a bit years on is the 50th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's departure from this world. Make a note if you're still in the same body. Yeah, it's a little chuckle there, but for us at this age, what do you think? Quite possible. More possible than for others, it seems. We could probably make a statistical analysis of that. If you're still around, you could make it out there. So here I am in merry old England, and I want to talk a bit about Britain, although we're not many here who are what the Brits of previous times would be called Brits. You're a true blue Brit, aren't you? Kind of Irish Brit, but still. Yeah. That's the point. Srila Prabhupada, when he arrived in London for the first time, he was asked, "Why have you come here?" He said, "To teach what you have forgotten about God," which is quite a statement, considering that the British wanted to, at least an excuse for colonizing the world was to bring the blood of the Lamb. You know what that means? So, I don't know what it means either, but it's in something like that in the Bible. That means to turn people into Christians. That's the idea, to make them civilized. Srila Prabhupada on more than one occasion called London hellish. Once in Bury, you're probably all aware of this, we've been around for some time, in Bury Place Temple, which is still fondly remembered by those who live there. Anyone here lived in, or even You must have visited Berry Place, right? Yeah. Berry Place Temple. When Krishna Vesha asked Srila Prabhupada, is Bhagavad-gita spoken in the hellish planets? And Prabhupada said, well, I'm speaking it here in London. It's just like hell. It's dark, it's cold. Several times he made that observation that London is just like hell. He said that when he was in India having his British style education in his childhood and youth, he always used to hear that the sun never set on the British Empire, but when he came to Britain he found it never shines in Britain. Although nowadays you get sunshine, but it's still cold. Still cold. You think it's a warm day today. Well, it was... do you still use Fahrenheit here or Celsius or what? Celsius. So it was about 40 and getting up to what? Not quite that much. 36 in Vrindavan, just the beginning of summer. So talk a little bit about Britain through a Krishna conscious lens given by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Bring in some things which he didn't directly say. A British theologian who wrote the Narnia books. You're a bibliophile, right? Yeah. It was C.S. Lewis, yeah. So I read all those books in my childhood. Probably many of you never heard of them. You grow up with Spider-Man and who knows what nowadays. But he gave his concept of heaven, here we're talking about the Christian concept of heaven, being like England, but the weather is better. Another famous writer, Christian mystic, William Blake. When did he live? Look it up. Okay. No. I must have been before that. It was just at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. It must have been... anyway, the beginning... Yeah. 1827 he passed away. So just the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, as you will find out from the text of a song of his, or poem, which he wrote in pursuance of the myth or the desire that Jesus personally came to England. There is a story going around, especially if you go to Glastonbury, that great center of mysticism in England, you'll find this myth, or whatever it may be, we don't know, is being kept alive. There's an idea that in those undocumented years, from the age of 12 to 30, he came with his uncle, who was also called Joseph, to England, although others say he went to India, but we don't know. Anyway, it's a heart-touching song, poignant song for those who are English specifically, and who are deeply devoted to Jesus and want to see Jesus in England. And did those feet, have you heard this song? And did those feet, you haven't heard it, you're from Ireland, right? You have all different songs there. And where are you from? Are you from England or Ireland or what? You're from England, yeah. And did those feet, ancient times, see, he knows it, walk upon England's pastures green. And was the Holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen. And did And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? Clouded hills, yeah. And was Jerusalem builded here among these dark satanic mills? You see, it's the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. And he was not very happy seeing the mills. Mills is forerunner to factories. So he says they're satanic. Bring me my bow of burning gold. Bring me my arrows of desire. Bring me my spear, O clouds unfold. Bring me my chariot of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land. So that's a phrase, England's green and pleasant land, which has been extant in English dreaming since that time. This song has been interpreted in various ways. He's Britain's most famous mystic. You don't have many in Britain. But what it is the desire to identify the homeland, what people consider their homeland, with God, sacred land, to create a feeling that this land is sacred. We have in Sri Lanka, in the previous capital of Sri Lanka, in Kandy, what is said to be a tooth of Buddha. And have you been there? Yeah. And there's a famous temple which people go to. I don't know what Buddha himself would think of that, because it doesn't really fit with his teachings to come and take darshan and see the tooth of Buddha. But the idea is that Buddha, something about Buddha is there in Sri Lanka, and that makes it very sacred. What's going on here is mixing Dehatma Buddhi with religion. Dehatma Buddhi means to identify the body as the self. So there are various religious systems, but they don't have the knowledge that Krishna teaches in Bhagavad-gita. Or they may even superficially have it, that we are not the body, the first teaching of Bhagavad-gita, and then they think that my land is the land of God. Janani janma bhumischa swargameva gariyasi, which means that my mother, or the mother, and my land of birth is more glorious than heaven. This is said to be from the Ramayana. It's disputed. But the cause of all our problems is what? Well, you could say there could be many Krishna conscious answers to that. Forgetting Krishna. The cause of all our problems is lust, greed, anger, envy, all these qualities, or bad qualities. The cause of all our problems is identification of ourselves with the body, and as the new atheists never tired of pointing out until they became a little quiet nowadays compared to previously. So many problems arise from religion, but the problems that arise from religion are the compounded with identifying religion with a national identity. And what are you going to say about that? Hindutva? What are you going to say about that? We have any Hindutvavadis here? Well, actually, India is the land of religion in as much as Krishna himself appears there. And it is a place where generally people who have made spiritual advancement in previous lives are allowed to take birth. Not everyone. Kamsa was also born in India, among others, who are demons, out and out demons. But so many problems arise from making a national identity based on religion. I was mentioning Sri Lanka, which is the majority population is Sinhalese, who consider that this land is meant for Buddhists, and therefore they're ready to fight. Not now, but there was a big fight going on for some decades with the non-Sinhalese people. Although theoretically at least, Buddhists are not supposed to fight. Although, same as with Augustine, he rationalized the just war. Although Jesus said, if you're slapped on one cheek, show the other cheek. But it's not so practical. So national identity. What's going on in Israel, Gaza? That's a real hot topic to discuss. But without getting into the ins and outs and the ups and downs, what we have are two sets of people, both thinking that this land belongs to us because of our religious ethnic identity. And that the other people deserve to be killed because they don't agree with that and they oppose that. I was saying all the problems come from dehatma buddhi, identifying with the body with the self. That can be stated another way. All problems arise from illusion, which manifests as identifying the body with the self. And then, if we have a sense of God, which is to be encouraged in general, but when it mixes with illusion and ignorance, then we think of God as our order supplier. His job is to make our life in this world happy. I often wonder why are they complaining about different people are getting killed in the name of religion. Those who are being killed should be happy if you're going to go to heaven, right? What's the problem? You're killed, you go to heaven, and why protest? No proper knowledge of God. He doesn't belong to any particular country or caste or religious process. He can manifest himself anywhere. Krishna is not an Indian god. Sometimes people ask, well, why does Krishna only take avatars in India? Well, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, he's in the United Kingdom also, and in different places all around the world. He can manifest himself anywhere, and now he has manifested himself as the deity, as his books. So give people those books and tell them they're not British, and most of them will agree. Yeah, I'm not British, because most of the people in London are not British anyway. But if you think I'm British, then you're in illusion. Or if you think I'm any nation, it's a kind of illusion. Because we're in the body for a short time, then we have to leave it. And in the meantime, we identify with the body, and we think that the gratification of the senses of that body an identification with similar bodies, whether it's British bodies or French bodies or rat bodies or dog bodies. That is our identity. As I often say in India, that people in India, Hindus in India, who cultivate a strong sense of hatred for Pakistan, are quite likely to be born in Pakistan, because whatever you think of shapes your future life. And then if you're born in Pakistan, you're going to be trained to hate India. I saw one time, I went there, in the English newspaper, referring to India, they say the enemy. As persons of my generation often say, Britain is not what it used to be. It's a different country. It's very different from Victorian Britain, isn't it? The Victorians, the empire people thought they had a duty to civilize others by giving them British values, good British values. Steak and kidney pie and all that, fish and chips and all that kind of thing. Now Britain's values have changed. For instance, in Victorian Britain, not only abortion, but contraception was considered wrong and sinful. Homosexuality, I don't think there was any talk of transgenderism at that time. The values have changed to be just the opposite to what they were previously in many ways. But still the British think that it's their duty and their right to change other countries, like India, to be in line with their values. When they were... Actually, there have been transgenders in India since time immemorial. Don't make a big thing of it. But the British, when they were promoting their Victorian values, thought they had to foist it on all other countries of the world, and now they've changed their values completely to the opposite, and they want to foist that on other countries also. They can't admit it. They have this saying, a failed nation. Britain's a failed nation. It can't even house and feed its own citizens. It's filled with hypocrisy and corruption, and they're so busy telling others what to do, but they can't sort out their own mess at home. America, the same. We're gonna bring you American values, and if you don't like it, well, we have the most advanced military in the world. The national anthem of Britain just changed, right? Used to be God Save the Queen, now it's God Save the King. And of course, they all die. Some years ago I saw that someone had proposed to change the national anthem to a Beatles song. You all heard of it? You must have heard of the Beatles. The Beatles were a big thing. Nowadays, probably in another generation they'll be completely forgotten. But someone had proposed to change the national anthem to a Beatles song called Yesterday, with the words of which go like this. Yesterday all my troubles seemed so far away, now it seems that they are here to stay. I believe in yesterday. He was proposed. They want to put their English values, what are they saying? Steak and kidney pies. Once as a child being brought up with the idea that we're the British, we're the greatest. And I said to one of the teachers at school, who was from New Zealand, but that was considered pretty much English. So I said, we've got such a great culture. He said, "What is our culture? Beer and football." He wasn't very impressed. And it's not only beer and football. Like I say, steak and kidney pie, bangers and mash, football hooligans. Civilized country, right? Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto in Britain. He declared religion to be the opium of the people, but in Britain, football is the opium of the people. And people put so much emphasis on this. But it's another stupid game. People running around chasing a ball and multi-million pound business. As a child growing up, we were supposed to be hard and tough. I didn't do very good at that. I was always pretty skinny. But it was, in retrospect, from the teachings which Srila Prabhupada mercifully gave me and so many others, it's demoniac culture, preparing you to be a demon, maybe just to survive in a rough and tough culture. One time I arrived in Glasgow, first time I went there. Arrived in the bus station, so I went in the toilet, which was underground, and there was an alcoholic, which is quite common there, and he said to me, can I use your knife? I couldn't understand what he was saying because his accent. He said it 2 or 3 times, and then I caught on what he said. I said, "I don't have a knife." Later I got one. But he showed me, see, no, I'm not going to do it. See, it's just my whiskey bottle. The top, I can't get it off. It's going round and round. You know that when you go. So you need something like a knife to cut it off. He didn't believe me I didn't have a knife. A young, must have been about 14 years old. Knife culture. He came to London later. Nasty place. That's what I thought. He's talking about the Beatles. John Lennon had a very high opinion of himself. He had a whole song. I don't believe, you know that song? I don't believe in Hitler. I don't believe the Bible. I don't believe in Krishna. I don't believe in Zimmerman, which means Bob Dylan. It goes on like this, on and on and on and on. I just believe in me. Yoko and me, that's reality. That's what he thought reality is. He encountered reality in the form of a bullet. Krishna, death. That song, The Dream is Over. He made a song, The Dream is Over. It means the Beatles' phantasmagoria was finished. And so also is his belief in pretty much everything. I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that. He sung it with such like feeling, but his dreaming that he had understood what is reality. Reality is me and Yoko, if you happen to know who Yoko is. But this kind of dreaming, it was like dreaming that you've woken up from a dream. He just entered another dream. Despite wealth, fame, some intelligence, he was an unhappy person. Was it? Yeah. He's very famous. You know about John Lennon, right? I know, I saw you had a book once of George Harrison. Maybe you know more about George Harrison.
Yeah, I don't think I read that book.
You didn't read it, yeah. I didn't read it. I just opened one page and I thought this is not suitable for sannyasis. I put it down again. But he was an unhappy, he was a drug addict. Drug addict means you can't be happy. Even to, I don't know how they do it nowadays, but it was this and this. Why would you do that in the first place? It means you're trying to find happiness. You don't have it. And of course it makes you so much unhappy. We used to see, I don't know if you see now, at Piccadilly Circus distributing books, they used to just wander around. Still, is it? Some things don't change. They wander around. You can tell. Heroin addicts, you're talking about. So unhappy. So there are a few thoughts about Britain. See, people are not happy. Even materially they're not happy. They're always complaining about something. Srila Prabhupada came here and said, I've come to teach you what you have forgotten about God. Krishna consciousness begins with faith, ado shraddha. But faith comes from us, ado shraddha tata sadhu sangha. Then we associate with devotees. But actually that faith itself comes by at least initial association with devotees. If Srila Prabhupada hadn't come to the West, there wouldn't be Krishna consciousness in the West. And even if he just sent his books, who would believe there could be such a state of consciousness? We have many devotees had their faith in Krishna consciousness, not exactly through the philosophy that Srila Prabhupada taught in the beginning, but just by associating with Srila Prabhupada and understanding this is a person on a completely different level of consciousness. Krishna consciousness begins with faith, and coming from India to here, and how hard it is compared to India in general to arouse faith in Westerners in Krishna consciousness. Even here, in this small assembly just here, there's a disproportionate number of Indians compared to the number of Indian Hindus I'm talking about, compared to the population of Hindus in this area. Our preaching in the West is, well, in countries where there are Indians, is largely focused on Indians because they take to Krishna consciousness more easily. So it gives a good sense, helps us to understand what a miracle Srila Prabhupada performed. Where I've told this anecdote so many times, I'll tell it again. I read it in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, but it just completely underlines to me how far away from Krishna consciousness and Vedic culture were the Western people who Srila Prabhupada came to preach among. Two of Srila Prabhupada's first followers, who later became initiated by him, had been to India before meeting Srila Prabhupada, and they brought some posters with them back from India, religious posters, which one day they put up around the walls of that 26 Second Avenue storefront, which was ISKCON's first center in the West, 26 Second Avenue, Manhattan, New York City, Lower East Side. So they put up the posters. They'd bought the posters, but mostly they didn't know who the pictures were of. So one of the posters was of Hanuman. So they asked Prabhupada, "What's this? Is it a cat?" And everyone in India, including the Muslims, the Christians, the atheistic Hindus, everyone knows that Hanuman is a monkey, but they're just so completely devoid of any knowledge, even they've been to India. And like most of the hippies, they learned, if they hadn't already started, to smoke ganja, because that was apparently where they picked it up. This hippie smoking ganja came from Rishikesh, where it's still a popular pastime with the sadhus of sorts. But what a miracle Srila Prabhupada performed. And what a lot of work we still have to do. Radharand and Ishwar are still in a small temple. Even to get enough land to make a... Say we had a temple room the size of Bhaktivedanta Manor, which is not nearly big enough. With a temple, even to buy that land, how many millions of pounds would it cost to buy land like that in central land, even if you could find such land for sale? It seems beyond us, but can be done, should be. There's so many things. Srila Prabhupada had so many plans. I can't get on anyone's case here because I left here. But think big. Srila Prabhupada, one reason he was able to do what he did was because you see all these new agey slogans floating around, follow your dreams, anything is possible. I have in my diary here something, I don't know where to find it. The only things, anything is possible, the only thing stopping you is your own mind or something like that. It's nonsense. It's not everything's possible. If you want to fly in the sky without any mechanical assistance, I guess possible, not in this life. You have to take birth as a bird. But it's just nonsense. But Srila Prabhupada had faith in the words of Krishna, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of his Guru, in the faith in the holy name. It can be done, it must be done. Should be done. Let me try, he thought. And Krishna reciprocated. I finished writing a book which I'd hoped I'd have ready for presentation here now, but it's at the press now, called The Mood and Mission of Srila Prabhupada. And among other things, I analyze how did Srila Prabhupada do what he did? And there are various factors. He had great faith in the holy name, great faith in the order of his Guru, great faith in the teachings of the Bhagavatam, in that poem Markirne Bhagavad Dharma, Krishna consciousness in America. He emphasizes on if they'll simply hear the message of Bhagavatam, their hearts will change. Quoting Srinvatang Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtan, that series of verses. So another section of that book is that Srila Prabhupada thought big. He was moving fast and he wanted to do big things. Not for himself. He didn't promote himself. In those days there were famous gurus. I won't say their names. They're not... But famous gurus in the West. But Srila Prabhupada, he didn't become famous as a guru. The Hare Krishna movement became very famous. But Prabhupada didn't become famous. Because he wanted to promote Krishna and not himself. But it is our duty, Ebe Josh Gushok Tribhuvan. It is our duty to amplify his glories all over the world. How are we going to do that? People will not understand the glories of Srila Prabhupada unless they understand the glories of Krishna, and that he came to give Krishna. So we have to glorify Krishna. And so what's the best way to do it? We distribute his books. And then Krishna is glorified, and automatically Srila Prabhupada's fame will spread with that. But it's not only book distribution. Srila Prabhupada is very anxious to establish temples, as we were discussing. There were so many different speakers discussing about founding this Vrindavan temple. Srila Prabhupada he pushed so much to get that temple built, and Bombay temple built. He pushed so much, knowing it would make a big difference. Religious structures, architectural marvels, they establish a religion, which is why, as part of the plan to push back Protestantism, when it was first becoming prominent, the whole beautiful, magnificent Vatican City and Saint Basilica and all with its beautiful paintings, Michelangelo. That was all made to show the might and the beauty of God, and through the Catholic Church, to establish the authority and importance of the Catholic Church. So big, beautiful buildings, they should all be given to Krishna. There's been some talk recently, it's been going on for years, that the monarchy in Britain should be abolished. I don't care either way, because what difference does it make? You have some sausage-eating king, or you don't have. But you know, that's not whatever political adjustments they make, it's all a disaster anyway. But that Buckingham Palace would be better as a temple of Krishna, wouldn't it? Yeah. You need a few renovations. Yeah, and it's on record. Prabhupada said that Prince Charles is a hippie. He did say that. I didn't say it. Well, I just said it now. Anyway, we have a lot of work to do. The miracles should not stop in 1977. It's going on every day. Every time a book is passed out, it's another miracle. And you see miracles happening from the books going out. But I'm just in and out and giving an idea, which I'm sure so many come here and say this. Think big, do something bigger than you think is possible. And Krishna will reciprocate. Hare Krishna. Time to finish. Time for the evening arati. What do you sing here in the evening arati? Anything fixed? No. Hare Krishna. Yes. In the manner we used to sing Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna. I think sometimes that's still sung. Regularly? At the manner. Usually sometimes.
Usually hear this Jaya Radhe.
It is also, yes. Very, very nice lullaby, isn't it? That tune. All right, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I hope I haven't offended it. Well, I don't mind if I offended. At least they can't deport me from this country, because I'm a British citizen. When Srila Prabhupada was speaking to one of these big Englishmen who used to come and see him at the manor especially, Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu told me this. He said to him that once your country was great, it ruled the world, it can rule the world again. You just have to take a little direction from me.